The next morning, Arisu wakes up with a hangover and sets out to gather information about this world. He learns that game arenas appear only in Tokyo and that those who try to escape the city are eliminated by a laser. He attempts to talk to the girls, Momoki and Asahi, but they immediately run away. Suddenly, Arisu hears several gunshots and sees soldiers walking away from a dumpster. Approaching it, he is shocked to find the bodies of eliminated players inside. At that moment, a silver-haired guy and his friend Hikari appear. They tell him about the third rule of the club. Anyone who refuses to collect cards is considered a traitor and removed from the game. Climbing to the rooftop, the silver-haired guy introduces himself as Shuntaro. He asks Arisu what he plans to do with the information he has gathered. Arisu replies that he wants to find out who organized the game. He hopes to return to his world, or at least send Usagi back. Shuntaro laughs at his naive idea, but says he has a plan. Shuntaro explains that by following the local rules, Arisu is unlikely to return to the real world because his number is 315, and he is as far from first place as the moon is from Earth. Moreover, sooner or later, Aguni will stop tolerating the Hatter and attempt to overthrow him, which will lead to chaos. Therefore, Shuntaro suggests that Arisu and Hikari team up to steal the cards. That evening, Arisu tells Usagi everything. Meanwhile, on the beach, the players joyfully send off the Hatter as he heads to a game, knowing that his visa expires the next day. However, soon after, news arrives. The Hatter has been eliminated from the game. His body was found near one of the game arenas and returned to the beach. One of the executives, a man with glasses, declares that according to the rules, as the second in rank, he should take over leadership. However, Suguru, one of Aguni's followers, objects. He insists that power should go to Aguni and calls for a vote. Seeing that no one is raising their hand, Suguru signals a tattooed guard to intimidate the executives. In the end, everyone is forced to raise their hands, acknowledging Aguni as the new king of the beach. Suguru insists on immediately opening the black envelope. It turns out that all the cards won in the games were kept in the Hatter's safe. The password for the safe was written on a piece of paper sealed inside the black envelope, which could only be opened when leadership changed. As the new king, Aguni opens the envelope, learns the password, and then reseals it in front of the executives. Shuntaro informs Arisu about this and suggests that he break into the royal suite to steal all the cards from the safe. Usagi warns him that if they are caught, they could be eliminated as traitors. However, Arisu is convinced that with the change of leadership, the unity of the beach will collapse anyway, making it the perfect time to carry out their plan. Meanwhile, Suguru gathers everyone in the hall and announces that the Hatter lost yesterday's game and never returned. Aguni is now officially the new king of the beach. At the same time, Arisu secretly sneaks into the royal suite and finds the safe inside a wardrobe. Over the radio, he asks Shuntaro for the password. Shuntaro gives him the number 8022. However, when Arisu enters the password, the safe does not open. Instead, an alarm is triggered. Aguni enters the room with his men, followed by a smirking Shuntaro. Usagi is also captured. It turns out that Shuntaro has betrayed Arisu and Usagi to gain Aguni's trust. After several blows, Arisu loses consciousness. Aguni thanked Shuntaro for his help, but his gaze involuntarily stopped on a painting of a deer hanging on the wall. When Arisu regained consciousness, he found himself tied up, with his mouth and eyes taped shut. He was left to wait until his visa expired. Before leaving, Suguru told Arisu that he was going to throw a party for Usagi. Arisu was in despair, but there was nothing he could do. Meanwhile, Anne extracted the bullet from the Hatter's body and pondered over what had happened. Shuntaro ordered Hikari to stand guard near Aguni's room. Over the radio, he informed her that when Arisu was captured, Aguni, who was usually calm, kept glancing at the painting of a deer. Shuntaro deduced that the black envelope did not contain a note with the password, but rather an image of the deer. His assumption turned out to be correct. Behind the painting, a hidden safe was concealed. Entering the code 8022, he successfully opened it. Suguru took Usagi to one of his rooms, but when he tried to approach her, she bit him on the tongue. At that moment, the television in the room automatically turned on. Shuntaro, who was about to escape from the beach, suddenly felt something was wrong. He stopped Hikari, who was about to step off the premises, and removed his bracelet. As soon as the bracelet touched the ground, it instantly burned up. It turned out that the beach had been completely taken over by the game's organizers. The entire area was surrounded by a laser grid, making any escape impossible. Suddenly, the voice of the game's host echoed through the loudspeakers, announcing the start of a new game for all the players. Difficulty level 10 of hearts. Taking advantage of the fact that Suguru and his men were distracted, Usagi managed to escape from the room. All the players gathered in the lobby, where the body of Momoki was already lying. She had been eliminated from the game. The host announced the name of the game, Witch Hunt. The objective of the game was to find the witch, the player who had eliminated Momoki, who was among them. To win, they needed to find the witch and burn them at the stake. The witch could be anyone, regardless of gender. The players were given only 2 hours to complete the task. The organizers lit the fire, and the game began.